How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today I'm going to cover where you can invest when there's a market downturn. It's no surprise recently we've seen the US stock market tumble. Here are some of the headlines. Dow falls by 900 points for second day straight as coronavirus spreads. Markets tumble anew as new coronavirus cases roil Wall Street. Tesla is also down to $797 or so. Now we have to put all this into perspective here because if you invested towards the beginning of the year, the Dow only lost about 1/3 of its gains from a year ago. This is about 8% or so. If you zoom out in a longer time horizon to the 5-year mark, you can barely see that it went down. If you zoom out to the 40-year, you can't even notice it at all. Now to me, this is just a little blip so far. I am not saying that it's not going to go down further because this is very, very unpredictable right now. Personally, I'm waiting for something between a 30 to 50% drop in the stock market. Right now, it's about 8%, so another 22% more to go. Now, why do I need such a large dip? Because I am actually holding on to a lot of cash, and I personally want to invest a lot of this. In fact, I want to go all in into the stock market, but I don't want to do this just yet. Yes, this is kind of timing the market, and I do not think most people should follow the same thing that I'm doing here, and you definitely only want to do this with your speculative money. Now, whenever the market turns south, you start to see red everywhere, and you start to wonder, where do you invest so that you can make some gains even with all this going down? Now you have to know, why is the stock market go down? Well, it's the coronavirus. And what is going to go down? Most of the assets are going to go down. Oil is going to go down because travel is going to reduce less. Airlines is going to go down because people are canceling tickets. They're not going on cruises, so cruises are not going to be good. Restaurants, because people don't want to go out anymore. It affects a broad range of things, including Apple, where they produce products over in China. It affects Nike, where they produce a lot of shoes over there in China. It affects a lot of companies where you think it's actually US based, but they have a supply chain that always links all the way back to China. And this will mean lower revenues for them. They somehow cannot keep the products on the shelves. And this would translate to lower earnings for the next quarter. And I think when the next quarter comes, when they announce that they're not earning as much, that's when a lot of the sell-off is going to accelerate. This, of course, all hinges on the fact that the coronavirus is not going to be as well contained, and that is going to spread more and more in the future. I, of course, don't know if this is going to be the case, but most people are just kind of sitting on the sidelines. We definitely know that this is not the end. This is not the worst it has to come. Something worse is going to come after this. We definitely know this, and we're just waiting around right now to see when the worst is going to come. One of the things that you can invest in is in gold, of course. You can go and buy actual physical gold, or something that's a lot less cumbersome is buying an equity in gold. One of them is GLD. They hold gold assets, and you're buying a share into this holding. Right now, it's around $154, and I remember seeing this particular asset hover around $130 or so for like many years. And after 5 years or so, you might start to think holding gold is a lost opportunity cost, because if it's not appreciating for a really long time, you're losing out because you need to make some sort of gain. You need to try to beat inflation of 2%. So if it just stays flat, you might start to think, well, why are you holding gold? Well, exactly for times like these, when people are running from equities, people are running from everything basically, and then they're piling into assets like these, which is gold. Another thing that you can pile your money into when you see a market downturn and that you expect it's going to keep on going down, it's silver. However, silver has a industrial component to it because people use this for industrial purposes. There's a lot more use for silver instead of just a purely store of value. So when the economy goes down, people are going to use less silver. So this may not be as good a hedge for a market downturn as gold is. The next thing that typically can go up is bonds. Now, you might wonder, how the heck do you buy bonds? Well, you can buy an equity in bonds, which is ticker symbol BND. If you take a look at this chart over here, over the past 1 year, it has run up quite a bit. For all of these things, it was a good idea to have held on to some of this long ago. And then now it's already run up quite a bit, right? You might be able to consider selling some of it. For example, I personally hold a little bit of gold. So right now I'm in a position where I'm ready to sell some for like, I don't know, 15% gain, 20% gain or so. The next thing you might consider is Bitcoin. Now, I personally don't invest in this at all because I think it's a little bit too volatile. I also think it's a little bit high priced right now. But with a market downturn, Bitcoin could go up some more because people are looking for a place to store their money. Well, gold, Bitcoin, people seem to think that Bitcoin is a good store of value. So you're really going by the market sentiment on how trustworthy is Bitcoin. Let me just say that Bitcoin is much more volatile than gold is. So based on the sentiment around Bitcoin, you might see it go down even with a market downturn. Now that I talk about where to invest your money, when to invest in your money is just as important. To understand when you should actually invest, you have to understand more about this virus situation. For me personally, I've been absorbing a lot of the news and I've been just kind of looking left and right, taking people's opinion, taking a lot of data from experts. So now let's take a look at some of the headlines over here. 1,000 tourists on a Spanish island are quarantined in their hotel room after one of them tested positive for coronavirus. So obviously people are just kind of on a scare right now. If one person tested positive, people are like freaking out really because it can spread. Just because one person has it, right? They've been contacting other people within the same hotel. They touch the same doorknobs. People touch the doorknobs, touch the counter or something, and then touch their face. So they possibly could have it. And the thing is, sometimes even when they have it, they may not have the test kits to test for them. Even if they have the test kit, they can test for them and it may not be 100% reliable. South Korea's Moon says situation very grave as mass virus tests get going. Depending on the country, some people are not being tested and so people don't get flagged if you don't get tested. You don't know if they have the coronavirus or not. So as some countries get more and more test kits, they're going to flag more of them and more people are going to be marked as infected. So when you go on those websites where it says, oh, how many people infected, how many confirmed, right? This all hinges on the fact that you have reliable test kits and not everyone that is suspected of having coronavirus is being tested just yet. China said it would relax its lockdown of Wuhan's 11 million residents only to immediately reintroduce it. Now, this is probably just some error on their government part, some miscommunication or somewhere, but definitely they're still on the lockdown. Coronavirus updates. Senior Iranian health official tests positive as pandemic fears grow. They even released a video where that guy was like kind of wiping his forehead like this, I assume this is what it looks like. You start to get a fever and then later on he got tested positive for coronavirus. This is some scary thing, right? You think health officials, they would be very, very careful in trying to not get it themselves, and they still get this. This is nuts. Iran prepares to suffer the wrath of the coronavirus. This is just all over the news, and it's very, very worrisome because there is person-to-person transmission, not just people coming back from Wuhan where, there's a high degree that they got the virus and then they just come back. There is some other thing going on where some person that they cannot identify, and this is particular the case in Japan where they can't trace back to where people actually got the virus. They just go, somebody got it and they don't know how they got it from, and they don't know the originator of that person where they can go, okay, this person had it because they came from Wuhan. They don't know this right now in some places. So this means that the person-to-person transmission is happening. And we're just not detecting it just now because the test kits are not very widespread just yet. Now, I looked at a lot of news articles. I am not a health expert, but sometimes when you watch someone else, some other health expert, you just kind of get them. You just got to go, they know what they're talking about. They speak very concisely and then they back it up with data. One such person I feel like people should really listen to is Dr. Scott Gottlieb. He's a Pfizer board member and a former FDA commissioner. So I think if you guys are interested in where the market is going, it would be prudent to go listen to him and listen to the things that he has to say as an ongoing basis. Now, so far, we know the fatality rate, if you just go on their website and go, how many people died, how many people have it, it's around 2 to 4%. Now, if you account for all these people that are not tested yet, it's going to be a lot higher, right? A lot more people probably has this coronavirus. Maybe sometimes they don't even know that they have it. If you add in a lot of people that is not accounted for, it might drop down to 2% or so. The fatality rate is also really high over in China, sometimes because they don't have the healthcare facilities to take care of everyone. This is also kind of alarming because it means that if any healthcare system gets overloaded, it could just so very well happen in the US. The fatality rate could go up because people are not getting taken care of. With any kind of virus thing, we have to compare it to the flu. It's very interesting that people don't care about the flu anymore because it's such a so common thing. If I am in close proximity with anyone with the coronavirus, I probably would get it too because I'm not 100% sterile all the time with my hands and stuff. So we have to take things into perspective here. 0.1 fatality rate with the flu. 14,000 people died in 2019 from the flu, and so far about 2,600 people died from the coronavirus so far. Dr. Scott Golub anticipates that the fatality rate is somewhere probably between 0.2 and 0.5%, which is 2 to 5 times higher than the flu. So if it gets really, really widespread, it's going to be about 2 to 5 times the fatality rate of 14,000 people. So if it does not get contained. And I feel like the flu is very hard to contain. All they can do is go and make up some vaccine and have people immunized so that they do not get seriously ill and die from it. I feel like going forward, if it does not get contained, people are trying really hard. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff like self-quarantine. They halt all the travel. They stop the roads and stuff in some countries. Even with all these measures, it's still getting out. Places like Italy just gets it all over the place. South Korea just gets it all over the place. A lot of people are getting infected. And it almost seems like it's hard to stop. And I am sitting here kind of in fear. Like, I feel like eventually, hopefully I'm healthy enough to be able to get the virus and not die from it. But I feel like it's quite a possibility. The chances of this being as bad as the flu, it's getting higher and higher. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to give me a like on this video. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.